Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we will discuss the massive rumors surrounding Ashleigh Brewer's maternity leave and how Ivy Forrester's completely unhinged storyline is finally setting up her dramatic exit from The Bold and the Beautiful. I am literally shaking right now. I just finished watching the latest episodes. It is 2 in the morning, my coffee is cold, and I am so overwhelmingly frustrated that I physically could not go to sleep without typing this all out. I mean, are you kidding me right now? Are we seriously watching the absolute character assassination of Ivy Forrester unfold right before our very eyes? I have been watching this show religiously since 2015, and I have seen some wild, completely unbelievable things happen on this canvas. But this takes the absolute cake. I am losing my mind over what they have done to this woman. Let's just jump right into the massive elephant in the room, because we have to talk about the real life situation before we can even begin to unpack the absolute mess that is the fictional storyline. So in case you missed it, Ashleigh Brewer took to social media back in February to announce that she is pregnant with her first child. And honestly, a massive, huge congratulations to her. She married her husband Mark Bauk back in December, and their baby girl is due next month. This is their first child together, and she has been keeping all of us fans updated on her journey, and she looks absolutely glowing and stunning. I am genuinely so happy for her in real life. But oh my god, the way the soap has handled this pregnancy on screen is making me want to pull my hair out. Have you guys noticed the completely ridiculous ways they have been trying to hide her baby bump over the last few weeks? It is pure, unadulterated soap opera comedy at its finest, but also so incredibly distracting. I mean, they literally had Ivy Forrester, a grown, sophisticated woman, crouching in the bushes like an absolute cartoon villain, spying on her niece's boyfriend in the bushes, with a giant designer tote bag strategically placed over her midsection. I was screaming at my television. It is so embarrassing. And look, I get it. The Bold and the Beautiful films a few weeks in advance, and they couldn't write the pregnancy into the show because Ivy is currently single and spending 100% of her time obsessing over teenagers. But come on, the giant coats indoors, the massive floral arrangements, she just happens to stand behind while having a conversation in the CEO office. It's giving 1990s soap opera tropes, and I am both laughing and crying at how absurd it looks. But obviously, because her baby girl is due next month, Ashleigh Brewer is going to have to go on maternity leave very, very soon. In fact, if they film a few weeks in advance, she has probably already filmed her final scenes and exited the canvas. Which brings me to the absolute train wreck that is Ivy Forrester's current storyline. I need to vent about this because I am so deeply offended as a longtime fan. Remember when Ashleigh Brewer returned to the CBS soap last year after an 8-year hiatus, 8 years? We were all so hyped. We thought, yes, finally some fresh energy. We thought she was going to come back and shake up the Forrester Creations hierarchy. Maybe get into a massive boardroom war with Steffi, or reignite some old passionate romances. We thought she was going to be a powerhouse. Instead, what did we get? The most lackluster, bizarre, completely out of character return I have ever witnessed. They brought back Ivy Forrester, a woman who used to have her own intense love triangles with Liam and Wyatt. A woman who used to stand toe-to-toe with Steffi, just to turn her into a weird, meddling aunt who spends all her time obsessing over the young adult love scene. Why is a woman in her 30s dedicating every waking second of her life to manipulating the love life of her young niece, Elektra? It is so incredibly creepy and pathetic, and I am so mad that they wasted Ashleigh Brewer's talent on this garbage. Let's talk about the actual crime here, because I am still fuming over the sheer evil of what Ivy did. She didn't just give Elektra some bad advice, she actively maliciously sabotaged a beautiful relationship. Elektra wrote this deeply emotional, vulnerable letter to Will Spencer, laying her heart on the line, and Ivy stole it. She just swiped it. And if that wasn't bad enough, she took the WE necklace, the deeply symbolic necklace that Elektra made for Will, and left it on the desk to make it look like Will had just callously abandoned it. She made Elektra believe that Will completely threw her love away like it was trash. I can't even begin to explain how angry that made me. Elektra was absolutely shattered. We watched this poor girl cry, her eyes out, completely heartbroken, feeling rejected and worthless. All while her aunt, the woman who is supposed to protect her, stood there, playing the comforting shoulder to cry on. It is straight up sociopathic behavior. And Ivy did all of this just because she has some elitist, outdated grudge against the Spencer family and wants to force Elektra into the arms of RJ Forrester. Wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me take a breath. Okay, back to the point. The truth is finally coming out, and thank God for Daphne Rose Walton. I know some people are annoyed with Daphne for keeping the secret as long as she did. But honestly, I get it. She was put in an impossible situation. Daphne saw what Ivy did, and she was carrying this massive, heavy guilt. Carter Walton, her husband, kept telling her to stay out of it. And normally I love Carter. I think he is the moral compass of this show, but his advice here was terrible. You do not stay quiet when you see a grown woman psychologically torturing her niece. But Daphne couldn't take it anymore. The guilt was eating her alive, especially after her heartbreaking negative pregnancy test, which is a whole other storyline that has me crying, but I digress. Daphne finally reached her breaking point. She cornered Elektra at Forrester Creations and just spilled everything. And the look on Elektra's face, oh my god, give the actress an Emmy right now. The sheer horror, the confusion, the denial. Elektra literally tried to argue that there must be some mistake. My aunt wouldn't do that. Ivy loves me. Hearing her say that absolutely broke my heart into a million pieces because we, the audience, knew the devastating truth. And then we get to the confrontation. This is the scene I have been waiting for, the scene I have been praying for. Elektra finally corners Ivy. She demands her letter back. She pushes Ivy to admit that she is the mastermind behind all of this heartache. And what does Ivy do? Does she break down crying? Does she beg for forgiveness? Does she realize the absolute monster she has become? No, she does not. Ivy stands there cold as ice and literally defends her actions. She has zero shame, zero guilt. She looks her heartbroken niece dead in the eye and essentially says, yes, I did it, and I do it all over again. Are you kidding me? I was throwing pillows at my TV. The sheer audacity to stand there and claim that destroying someone's happiness was for their own good because Will's a Spencer. It is so toxic. It is so manipulative. Ivy has officially crossed the line from a meddling relative to a full-blown soap villain, and I don't know how the writers can ever walk this back. And let's not forget about Will Spencer's reaction to all of this. Will has been taking the absolute brunt of this manipulation. He thought Elektra dumped him. He thought she moved on with RJ effortlessly. He was so confused and hurt, and he ended up seeking comfort in Melissa Dillon, which caused a whole nother mess. But when Will finally gets brought into the loop, when he finally hears about the stolen letter and the discarded necklace, oh, the wrath of Will Spencer is going to be biblical. We already saw the buildup of this tension in the Forrester CEO office. Will and RJ got into an actual physical shoving match. A full-on brawl, and honestly, I was cheering for Will. RJ has been so incredibly entitled, acting like he owns Elektra just because he has the Forrester name. RJ literally slammed Will for being a sleazy, greedy Spencer. And then Will dropped the absolute greatest insult in the history of this show. He looked RJ dead in the eye and said, "You're not even a real Forrester. You're a Marone." Boom, drop the mic, I screamed. I literally screamed. For those of you who haven't been watching for decades, Ridge Forrester is biologically a Marone, not a Forrester. Eric is not his biological father. So RJ parading around with this massive Forrester superiority complex is completely hypocritical. And Will pointing that out was the most satisfying moment of the year. It cut so deep into the generational trauma and the legendary feud between Bill Spencer and Ridge Forrester. It was a masterclass in soap opera dialogue. But of course, Ridge had to step in and play the hypocritical peacemaker. Ridge hauls RJ into the office and gives him this stern lecture about keeping personal feelings out of the workplace. Claiming Forrester Creations is a fashion house, not a boxing ring. Excuse me, Ridge. You literally punch people in your office every other Tuesday. The lack of self-awareness is astounding. And Brooke is no better, actively encouraging RJ to follow his heart and pursue Elektra, even though she's clearly entangled in this massive web of lies. The enabling in that family is off the charts. So where does this leave Ivy? The spoilers are strongly hinting that Ivy Forrester could be leaving town as soon as next week. And honestly, it makes perfect sense. All hell has broken loose. Elektra is absolutely shattered and she is out for blood. The spoilers say Elektra is going to push Steffi and Ridge to boot Ivy out of the company entirely. And they absolutely should. Ivy has been slacking on the job, obsessing over teenage drama, and she actively betrayed a member of the Forrester family. She is a liability. But here is the rumor that is really making the rounds on the forums, and I need to know what you guys think about this. Rumor has it that Ivy isn't just going to get fired and hop on a plane to Paris. Rumor has it that she might check into a mental health facility. Let's unpack that for a second. A mental health facility, is Ivy actually having a psychological breakdown? I mean, when you look at her behavior over the last few months, it has been completely obsessive. The crouching in the bushes, the stealing of private property, the total lack of empathy or remorse when confronted by her sobbing niece. It is not normal behavior for a healthy adult. Some fans are arguing that Ivy must be suffering from some sort of mental break perhaps triggered by her own past trauma or her intense hatred for the Spencers. But personally, I'm sorry, but I hate this trope. I hate when soaps use mental illness as a get out of jail free card for characters who are just acting like terrible people. Ivy wasn't hallucinating. She wasn't out of touch with reality. She meticulously calculated a plan to ruin Elektra's relationship because she is a snob who thinks Forresters are better than Spencers. Checking her into a mental health facility feels like a cheap way for the writers to write. Ashleigh Brewer off for her maternity leave without making Ivy permanently irredeemable. They want to be able to say, oh, she wasn't evil, she was just sick when she eventually returns. It feels like a cop-out to me. Am I the only one who feels this way? Let me know in the comments, because this is driving me crazy. Whether she gets fired, runs away to Paris in disgrace, or gets locked up in a facility, the fallout of her exit is going to be massive. Will Elektra ever forgive her? I honestly don't see how. This wasn't a little white lie. This was a calculated destruction of Elektra's life. Elektra trusted Ivy more than anyone, and Ivy looked her in the eye and lied to her for months. The betrayal of family trust is so profound here. Even if Ivy comes back in a year crying and apologizing, the damage is permanently done. Elektra will never look at her aunt the same way again. And what about Melissa Dillon Poor? Dillon has been caught in the crossfire of all of this. She grew close to Will. She received that alarming, mysterious phone call about unfinished business, which we all know is probably Remy Price. But that's a whole different video, and she ended up moving out of the beach house to save her friendship with Will. Dillon knew about Ivy's manipulation and stayed quiet too, which means when the dust settles, Dillon might face the wrath of Elektra as well. The collateral damage of Ivy's actions has touched literally every single young character on this canvas. So is it time to say goodbye to Ashleigh Brewer? Yes, it absolutely is. The actress needs to go have her beautiful baby, enjoy her maternity leave, and focus on her growing family with Mark Bauck. She deserves all the happiness in the world. But as for Ivy Forrester, good riddance. I'm so tired of watching this character skulk around the office plotting like a comic book villain. Do I think Ashleigh Brewer will return? That's the million-dollar question. She was gone for 8 years before this stint. If she comes back, the writers have a massive uphill battle to redeem her. They would have to write a storyline where Ivy genuinely hits rock bottom, realizes the monster she became, and spends months, maybe years, trying to earn back Elektra's trust. But knowing B&B, they'll probably just bring her back in 6 months, have her say my bad, and everyone will magically forgive her over a plate of Il Giardino pasta. I just can't get over the wasted potential. They had Ashleigh Brewer back. They could have paired her with Liam again to drive Hope crazy. They could have paired her with Thomas. They could have made her a ruthless businesswoman challenging Steffi for the CEO chair. Instead, they made her the creepy aunt hiding in the bushes. It is a masterclass in how not to write a returning legacy character. I know some people are loving this drama, and I won't lie, the confrontation scenes have been juicy. Watching Elektra finally snap and demand answers was incredible television. Watching Will call RJ Marone was a top-tier soap moment. The acting from the younger cast has been phenomenal. But the underlying premise that Ivy would do this in the first place is what ruins it for me. It requires me to completely suspend my disbelief and forget everything I knew about who Ivy Forrester used to be. Anyway, I am exhausted. My fingers actually hurt from typing this so fast. I need to go try to sleep. But I will be dreaming about Will and RJ throwing punches in the Forrester showroom. Let me know your thoughts down below. Do you think the mental health facility exit is a cop-out? Do you think Elektra should forgive her? And seriously, did anyone else laugh out loud at the bush hiding scenes? Make sure to like and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video where we will probably have to unpack whatever unhinged thing Brooke decides to do next to ruin Katie's fashion show. Bye guys.